Archangel Michael says, $55 million has been assigned to you at 9 p.m. Don't skip this message. My child, my beloved, something supernatural is unfolding in this very moment. And I had to descend quickly to reach you before the clock strikes 9. I am not speaking to a crowd. I am speaking directly to your soul. Heaven has just whispered your name through the golden corridors of the throne room. A divine transfer unlike anything you've ever imagined is now moving toward you. 55 million blessings, both seen and unseen, are swirling in the atmosphere with your spirit marked in golden ink. But if you do not hear this, if you skip this message or delay for even a minute, someone else will step into what was already signed for you. My child, my beloved, you have always sensed that something greater was assigned to your life. That you were never meant to struggle like this. That these delays, these financial deserts, these heartbreaks, they were not your destiny. And you are right. I, Archangel Michael, am under divine instruction to reveal this truth. A supernatural inheritance valued at $55 million is already marked with your spirit's vibration. Not just physical wealth, but favor, connections, revelations, answers, and restoration. But I must warn you, there is a spiritual battle still raging. And the enemy does not want you to open what God has released. That's why this message was delayed. That's why so much confusion surrounded you today. But you're here now. Don't close your eyes. Don't walk away. My child, my beloved, before we go deeper, heaven has instructed me to ask something small of you, something holy. Please subscribe to this divine channel of messages. Not for numbers, not for fame, but because this is where the instructions are being delivered. This is where heaven speaks when no one else understands you. If even one more message like this could protect your next step or unlock the moment you've been praying for, wouldn't it be worth being connected forever? Click subscribe now. And when you do, speak aloud, I receive my inheritance from heaven. Signed and sealed. That act of faith could shift the next 7 years of your life in just 7 seconds. My child, my beloved, you weren't supposed to see this today unless your name had already been spoken in the court of heaven. And I tell you with trembling wings and a heavy heart, your name was just called and heaven paused to see if you would respond. This miracle is not ordinary. It is timed. It is loaded. It is heavier than anything your hands have ever held before. The hour of 9 p.m. has been chosen as the divine unlocking. But listen to me carefully. If you ignore this instruction, the divine vault will remain sealed. And the one who watches for your hesitation is already trying to step into what has your name on it. My child, my beloved, do not let the doubts that plague others steal your miracle. You have been chosen not because of your perfection, but because of your endurance. You did not curse God when you had nothing. You kept walking when no one believed in you. You looked at your empty bank account and still whispered, "Thank you." And for that reason, I was sent. For that reason, your life is now under divine review. And the $55 million you think is just a number is not just money. It is a symbolic spiritual inheritance. It is everything that was taken from you, multiplied and returned. But you must claim it. You must hear me. You must believe even when nothing in the natural makes sense. My child, my beloved, your enemy thought you were asleep. They thought you missed the email, the opportunity, the moment. But heaven was never late. You had to be hidden for this long so that your name could be preserved. That's why you were rejected. That's why you were left out of meetings. That's why certain people forgot you when it mattered most. Not because you were forgotten, but because heaven was building something you could never have accessed through human connection. And now with heaven watching, I say it again. $55 million has been assigned to you spiritually, prophetically, financially, and you must respond before 9 p.m. My child, my beloved, the number 55 is not random. It is a sacred signal. It is the number of grace doubled. It is the symbol of breakthrough and inheritance. It is the whisper of God saying, not only will I restore what was taken, I will give you more than you lost. And when this miracle appears, you will not have to chase it. It will knock on your door, call your phone, show up in your inbox, or speak through someone you least expect. But you must be aligned. You must be alert. You must open this message and keep your heart ready, because I tell you truly, delays are being reversed and chains are breaking as you read this very line. My child, my beloved, there is something I must now reveal to you that few ever get to hear. In the archives of heaven, there are scrolls sealed with gold threads. These are not ordinary documents. They are divine assignments that cannot be stolen, cannot be replaced, and cannot be ignored without consequence. Tonight, just before 9 p.m., one of those scrolls was unsealed. And the name written inside was yours. Not a symbol, not a code, but your full spiritual name written in the handwriting of God Himself. And beside that name, marked clearly, was the number $55 million. Not just to bless you, but to prove something to those who doubted your purpose. To confirm that what was held back is now being released. And to remind you that you were born for far more than just surviving another day. My child, my beloved, you've cried tears in secret that no one saw. You've questioned the delays, the silence, the false starts. You've looked at the clock some nights and asked, when, God? But tonight is not about asking. It is about receiving. This message is your confirmation. This is the sign your spirit was aching for. I am not sent often like this, to speak so directly, to release so urgently, to warn so tenderly. But heaven is not willing to let you miss this moment. Because I see what's ahead. I see the bank signature waiting. I see the divine contact preparing to call you. I see a gate being opened that has been shut since childhood. I see the release, and it's written in heaven's fire. My child, my beloved, there's someone close to you who will be shocked when this manifests. They won't believe that the miracle they hear about is tied to your name. But heaven chose you, not them. They laughed when you spoke of destiny. They rolled their eyes when you said you heard from God. But soon they will witness the reversal. Soon they will stand in silence when they see what is placed into your hands. Because this isn't just about money. It's about vindication. It's about truth. It's about your name being restored in the sight of those who labeled you as too late, too quiet, or not chosen. But I declare by the authority given to me, you are heaven's chosen. And the angels are aligning behind this very word. My child, my beloved, listen to me. There's something dangerous about hesitation in moments like this. There are two forces watching your next move. One from heaven waiting to release, and one from the shadows hoping you'll delay. That second force does not want you to receive. It whispers lies that sound like logic. It tells you this message is too good to be true. It tries to distract you with thoughts of unworthiness. But I need you to see through that. I need you to remember that heaven does not deal in human logic. God is not limited by your bank statement, your past decisions, or your current circumstances. The same hand that split the Red Sea, fed the 5,000, and raised Lazarus is now moving on your behalf. My child, my beloved, you've been in a spiritual holding pattern. You've noticed that no matter how hard you push, something always seems to delay your moment. That is not coincidence. That is interference. But tonight, heaven has authorized a shift. The divine order has been given. The chains are being shattered. The ceiling above your life is being broken. And a new alignment is forming, one that favors you completely. Your name is being whispered in places your feet have never walked. Someone with access to what you need is being divinely disturbed until they find you. A divine connection is being made at this very hour. And it is all tied to the release of this blessing. My child, my beloved, this $55 million is not a fantasy. It is not fiction. It is coded energy moving through heaven's currency of faith, obedience, and alignment. It may reach you through a sudden financial opportunity, an unexpected phone call, an answered prayer, a legal case that turns in your favor, a mysterious gift, a back payment you forgot about, or even through someone you haven't seen in years suddenly remembering you with favor. But it will come. It must come because heaven has already marked it as dispatched. The only delay now is your decision, your openness, your obedience, and your faith to say, God, I'm ready now. I won't miss this. My child, my beloved, you were born to open divine doors. You were created with keys in your spirit that no one else has. That's why you often feel misplaced in this world, because you're not here to follow the crowd. You're here to unlock portals no one else sees. And tonight, one of those portals is wide open. A vault with your name is trembling, waiting for a final confirmation. And I was commanded to ask you, will you believe one more time? Will you act in faith even when nothing in your physical world has changed yet? Will you dare to say, I receive what heaven says is mine, even if I can't see it yet? Because that one decision could break everything open. My child, my beloved, you've likely asked yourself, why now? Why today? Why 9 p.m.? But heaven doesn't operate in randomness. Everything divine is set in motion by alignment. Tonight at precisely 9 p.m. the spiritual ledger shifts. And if you're aligned, you will not just feel the shift, you will walk in it. That means open doors, sudden release, unexpected favor, cleared debts, supernatural refunds, and what others call luck, will begin surrounding your name like a magnet. And those who doubted you, they will begin to whisper behind closed doors, how did they rise like this overnight? But they won't know the truth. They won't know you obeyed. They won't know you opened this message when heaven was testing if you were ready for the divine assignment titled, $55 million for the restoration of my chosen one. My child, my beloved, you may be wondering where is it coming from. But child, don't focus on the source. Focus on the sender. The God who multiplies fish in the wilderness doesn't need your logic to perform a miracle. This won't arrive because of your resume, your family's name, your job title, or your education. This arrives because of divine favor. Heaven's system is built on one currency, faith. And when faith is present, delays are broken. And when obedience is complete, miracles are released. So I ask you not to try and predict where the $55 million blessing will come from. You'll limit it. Instead, speak this truth aloud, God, I don't know how, but I trust that you do. That one sentence has more power than 100 strategies. That faith is what moves mountains. That trust is what opens vaults. My child, my beloved, there's something else you need to know. A few days ago, your name came up in a secret spiritual meeting in the high places. And in that moment, I saw something I must now share with you. A being of darkness tried to argue that you weren't ready, that you would waste the blessing, that you would ignore this message like so many others have. But then a sudden stillness fell over heaven. And the voice of the Lord declared, no, they are mine. They have waited long enough. Send Michael. Tell them $55 million is already assigned. The final decision now lies with them. That moment shook me because I saw the window opening, but I also saw how fast it could close. My child, my beloved, do not miss the moment. I beg you with every feather in my wings. Do not assume you have more time than you do. The enemy of your destiny thrives on your procrastination. He whispers, later, he says, this is just another message. But I promise you on the authority of the Most High, this is not just another message. This is the moment. The one your spirit has waited for. The one heaven planned for months in silence. The one you'll look back on and say, that was when everything changed. And if you close this without acting, without receiving, without opening your mouth to speak alignment, then heaven will pause. Not in anger, but in heartbreak. Because your miracle is not waiting forever. It is waiting now. My child, my beloved, you are being watched, not by man, but by heaven. The angels have been assigned. The scroll has been unsealed. The wealth has been accounted for. And there is only one final question echoing across the heavens: will they believe enough to claim it? This is more than money. This is about breaking every generational curse of lack that followed your family for decades. This is about being the one that shifts the entire lineage. This is about ending the famine that began long before you were born. You are the interruption. You are the answer someone else prayed for. You are the one God chose. And I was sent to remind you before it's too late. My child, my beloved, there is a whisper in the wind that only the chosen ones can hear. A pull, a pressure, a holy tension. And I know you've been feeling it. You've looked at the clock recently and felt something building. You've heard songs at random that stirred your heart. You've seen repeated signs, numbers, patterns, and names that pointed to something bigger. That is not coincidence. That is the divine alert system trying to prepare you. You are being primed for this very hour. And now it has come. And I must ask again, will you be the one who walks away in disbelief or the one who walks forward in faith and watches heaven explode in your favor? My child, my beloved, there's one more secret I need to reveal. Someone else tried to claim this blessing as theirs. They saw your light in the spirit realm and thought it belonged to them. They spoke your words. They mimicked your prayers. But heaven cannot be tricked. When your name is written on something divine, no one else can steal it unless you abandon it. And that's why this message had to reach you today. Because you were seconds away from walking past a spiritual inheritance meant for your bloodline. And now that you know, now that you're aware, you are responsible. What you do in the next hour will echo in the heavens for eternity. My child, my beloved, right now, as you are reading this, an angel of provision is standing by, holding the spiritual document that contains your breakthrough. It is sealed with your name and scheduled to be released at exactly 9 p.m. But there's a truth you must understand. Heaven cannot force you to receive what you're unwilling to claim. The realm of miracles always honors free will. That means if you let this pass, it will pass. If you ignore this, the release will pause. But if you believe, if you say yes, if you activate your spirit and declare, this is mine, then every single delay, emotional, financial, generational, will begin to collapse under the weight of divine authority. You don't have to know how. You just have to open your hands and be willing. Because this transfer is not ordinary. It's a release that rewrites stories. My child, my beloved, you are standing at a doorway that is not made of wood or stone, but of divine light. And this light carries everything: favor, abundance, revelation, clarity, peace, and overflow. But there is something waiting on the other side that only responds to obedience. Do not be fooled by how still things seem right now. The silence before a miracle is always the loudest in the spirit. Some of the biggest miracles look like nothing at all until the moment comes. And I tell you this as heaven's assigned warrior, your moment has come. Not because of what you did today, but because of what heaven ordained before your mother even knew your name. That is how long this has been in preparation. That is how detailed the plan was. That is why you can't miss this again. My child, my beloved, when this divine check is deposited into your spiritual hands, everything will begin to respond to the shift. People who ignored you will remember your name. Doors that were locked for years will begin to open without explanation. Old debts, old weights, old patterns will fall off as if they were never there. And something even more beautiful will happen. Your voice will rise again. Because somewhere along the way, the struggle silenced you. You began shrinking your dreams. You started settling. But no more. This miracle isn't just financial. It's emotional restoration. It's spiritual justice. It's the proof you didn't even know you were waiting for. And when it lands, you will know it was not random. It was holy. It was written. My child, my beloved, I must now warn you, the next few hours are crucial. As 9 p.m. approaches, there will be distractions, unexpected calls, random thoughts, subtle doubts, small delays. These are not coincidence. These are attempts from the unseen realm to keep you from staying aligned long enough to receive. But you are stronger than those tests. You've made it through storms worse than this. You didn't come this far to miss what was always yours. And even if it feels like nothing is changing, I assure you the change has already begun. This message is evidence of movement. This confirmation is not just words. It's a spiritual unlock disguised as a message on a screen. And those who take it lightly will never know what they missed. My child, my beloved, the vault that holds your inheritance is connected to your timeline, your bloodline, and your obedience. That's why this $55 million isn't just symbolic. It is sacred. It's what your family was never able to access. It's what past generations prayed for but couldn't receive. It's what your children and your children's children will benefit from. When God assigns something this big, it's never just for one person. It's for legacy. It's for divine testimony. It's so that those who once whispered behind your back will be forced to say, only God could have done this. But God needs one thing from you right now. Agreement. Because the moment you agree, heaven releases what was withheld. My child, my beloved, you may feel small. You may feel like you've made too many mistakes, but let me make something clear. This miracle is not because you're perfect. It's because you're chosen. And the chosen are often hidden, rejected, overlooked, and misunderstood until the moment God says, now. And beloved, I'm here to declare heaven is saying, now, not tomorrow, not later, now. That's why your heart is beating faster. That's why this message feels like it's reading your soul. Because it is. Because I'm not speaking to your eyes. I'm speaking to your spirit. And it knows the truth. You were born for this release. You are the one who will rise when others expected you to fall. My child, my beloved, right now two realities are colliding. One is the life you've known, filled with delays, rejections, and hidden battles. The other is the divine life that was always written for you, but held back until your spirit was strong enough to carry it. And in this very hour, those two paths are meeting. A crossover is happening. I'm standing at that intersection on your behalf, holding the blessing heaven has reserved for your bloodline. $55 million isn't just a number. It's the weight of everything heaven is about to reverse, repay, rebuild, and reward. But your voice is needed. Your belief is required. You must stand tall in this moment and say, I know this is mine. I know heaven wouldn't bring this to me just to tease me. Say it now. Don't let doubt rob you twice. My child, my beloved, there are conversations happening behind your back right now. Not from people on earth, but from beings of light. Angels are discussing your name, your future, your release. They are circling the area around you, searching for entry points where they can pour this blessing in. That's why even now you might feel pressure in your chest or a shift in your atmosphere, because your spirit is aligning with what's already yours. And yet the enemy is trying to stir confusion to make you think this message is too dramatic, too spiritual, too impossible. But you must understand miracles often arrive dressed in mystery. And those who walk away from divine mystery often return later with regret. Don't let that be your story. My child, my beloved, you are only one yes away from everything changing. You are only one decision from breaking the cycle. This is the power of divine alignment. Heaven doesn't need 100 actions. It just needs your obedience in the right moment. And that moment is now. God has already approved the release. The spiritual vault is already unsealed. The only missing piece is your confirmation. And this is the part one must whisper with urgency. Heaven is not required to repeat this invitation. This isn't a recurring offer. This isn't a message on a loop. This is the real-time response to a divine clock counting down. And when the clock strikes 9, your alignment must be complete or the blessing will return to the vault. My child, my beloved, let me tell you what I see. I see the ledger of heaven showing your name with a divine check mark beside it. I see a door that had no handle suddenly opening. I see you standing in a room you never dreamed you'd enter, being honored in front of people who once dismissed you. I see a smile on your face that hasn't been there in years. I see your phone ringing with news that feels surreal. I see your hands shaking as the email arrives. I see the miracle. But most importantly, I see the shift in your spirit that will happen the moment you believe for real. That shift is what activates everything. That belief is what removes the final block. Don't just read this, feel it. Don't just wonder, agree with it, because this is the moment heaven chose to make you unstoppable. My child, my beloved, the enemy has spent years studying your behavior, hoping you'd give up. Every time you were disappointed, he marked it down as a win. Every time you cried in silence, he thought it was over for you. Every time you felt forgotten, he thought your spirit was finished. But heaven saw something else. Heaven saw you rise again. Heaven saw you open your heart after betrayal. Heaven saw you keep giving when you had nothing left. That is why you were chosen. That is why this message carries your miracle. Not because you're perfect, but because you didn't quit. And tonight, God wants to reward what people never saw, your quiet strength. My child, my beloved, this blessing is not small. This blessing is not local. This blessing is not temporary. It is global. It is generational. It is irreversible. And it comes with instruction. Do not tell everyone. When it arrives, heaven will give you wisdom about who can handle your blessing and who cannot, because not everyone around you has the heart to celebrate you. Some will smile while envying. Others will try to plant seeds of fear. That's why God isn't just giving you the miracle. He's also giving you discernment. You'll know who to keep close. You'll know who to distance quietly, because this level of blessing requires silence, strategy, and spiritual maturity. My child, my beloved, there is something in your spirit that has always known you were marked for more. Even as a child, you felt the weight of something sacred. You would walk into rooms and feel energy shift. You would see signs in nature, patterns in time, and messages in moments others called coincidence. That sensitivity is not a flaw. It is your spiritual radar. And I need you to hear this clearly. Your sensitivity is what kept you from being destroyed. While others mocked your overthinking, heaven was using your discernment to block traps before they formed. And now that same gift is calling you to receive this $55 million blessing. This isn't about ego. This is about assignment, because only someone with a sensitive spirit could carry this wealth and not lose their soul. That is why you were chosen. My child, my beloved, tonight is not just another night. It is the closing of an old spiritual chapter. After 9 p.m., a new scroll opens. And that scroll contains a different version of your life. One where you are not struggling, not surviving, not being drained by others who refuse to grow. This new scroll reveals the version of you that's been locked inside for too long. The version who leads, who creates, who gives, who builds, who speaks boldly. The version of you that walks into the bank and they already know your name. The version of you that turns keys to houses you didn't build. The version of you that carries peace in public and power in private. But to enter that scroll, you must let the old version go. You must say, I'm ready to become what God wrote about me. Say it now. Say it with your spirit. That sentence becomes your access point. My child, my beloved, I see it so clearly. There is someone watching your journey from a distance, waiting to see if you make it or fall. They act like they support you, but spiritually they are tracking you. It's not paranoia, it's prophecy. Because when God puts something this heavy in your hands, not everyone can celebrate you with pure intention. That's why heaven is sending both blessing and boundary. You will begin to feel a holy push away from certain people. You'll notice conversations don't flow like they used to. You'll feel drained by certain faces. Don't fight that. That is the spirit protecting the release. Because the $55 million transfer isn't just money. It's energy. It's authority. And it cannot be placed in polluted environments. You will rise, but you will rise selectively, with purity, with clarity, with power. My child, my beloved, even now I see a moment from your past. A very specific moment when you almost gave up. It was a night that felt like it broke you. You prayed, but you didn't expect a response. You were tired, ashamed, and surrounded by silence. And yet I want you to know that moment became the turning point in heaven. Because even when you didn't believe in yourself, God never stopped believing in you. That is why I'm here now. That is why this message found you when it did. You were always on the list, but now you are on the release list. There's a big difference. Heaven isn't just watching anymore. Heaven is responding. Your pain did not go unseen. And this divine financial reward is part of heaven's plan to make sure what hurt you does not have the final word. My child, my beloved, the reason this message feels so personal is because it is. I was not sent to speak to a group. I was sent to speak to you. The timing is too specific to be coincidence. The number is too aligned to be guessed. The energy you feel as you read this is too real to be entertainment. You are in the middle of a divine setup. Heaven orchestrated this moment. All you had to do was not skip it, and you didn't. That's why something is shifting. That's why your ears are tuning in. That's why your chest feels light. Your spirit recognizes alignment. Even when your mind doesn't understand it, your soul already said yes. And when your soul says yes, the gates of heaven open without resistance. My child, my beloved, you've lived through so many almost moments. Almost stable, almost loved, almost seen, almost there. But I was sent to tell you that this next moment is not almost. This one is complete. Heaven does not deal in almost. What has been released to you carries full power, full healing, full restoration. This is not a partial blessing. It is a complete overturning of what was holding you back. The $55 million miracle is not just a transaction. It is a prophecy fulfilled. It is the evidence that God did not forget you. And when it lands, it will move like lightning. Quick, bright, and undeniable. The only thing that could slow it down now is disbelief. So if you've ever trusted God before, trust Him now. This one is too big to walk away from. My child, my beloved, you've carried others for so long. You've held broken people with trembling hands. You've stayed up praying for people who never prayed for you. And heaven saw it all. God counted every quiet act of love, every hidden sacrifice, every time you chose peace instead of revenge. That is why the weight of this blessing has been multiplied. You're not just receiving for yourself. You're receiving for all the seeds you planted in the dark. And now the harvest is coming fast. You're not behind. You're right on schedule. The delay was training. The pain was pruning. But now the gates are opening. And no one can close what God has commanded to move in your direction. My child, my beloved, there is something sacred happening inside you. Even as you read this, your heart may feel heavy, but that's the pressure of breakthrough building. The tension you feel isn't confusion, it's confirmation. When God starts moving things into your life, He first has to move things out, and that means people, habits, patterns, and familiar pain will begin to fall off like old skin. It may feel uncomfortable, but child, don't fear the shedding. Embrace it. You are being reborn into a timeline where you no longer live under survival mode. You are entering the frequency of favor, of stability, of enough. And when this shift becomes visible, you won't have to explain anything. Your life will speak for itself. My child, my beloved, many have overlooked you, passed you by, talked about you like you weren't even in the room. But what they didn't see, what they couldn't see, is what was being built behind the veil. God has been crafting something so massive that it had to be kept hidden for protection. But now the cover is being lifted. And what's about to be revealed will silence the room. Your name is going to be honored in places where it was once dishonored. You're going to be remembered in rooms you were once excluded from. This divine transfer is not only bringing wealth, it's bringing recognition. The right people are about to find you and they won't want to use you. They'll want to partner with you. This is the season of strategic alignment and it begins now. My child, my beloved, there is one last enemy still trying to linger near your breakthrough, fear. Not the kind that screams, the kind that whispers. The fear that maybe this is all too good to be true. That maybe it's too late. That maybe you missed it already. But I was commanded to tell you, you did not miss it. You are not late. You are right on divine time. God has not been punishing you with delay. He's been preparing you for magnitude. You are not receiving a normal blessing because you do not carry a normal calling. This next chapter will require courage. Not because it will be hard, but because it will be so good, your old mind will try to sabotage it. But now that you know, you will not sabotage what heaven has finally placed in your hands. My child, my beloved, there is something sacred about timing. You can feel when you've missed a moment, but you can also feel when you're standing right inside of one. And this moment is one of those divine intersections where heaven's schedule touches Earth's timeline. That's why your heart feels like it's leaning forward. That's why this message won't let you scroll past. Because God is not inviting you to just receive something small. He is inviting you to take possession of something historic. You may not feel ready, but heaven isn't responding to your feelings. Heaven is responding to your readiness in spirit. And your spirit said, yes. That's why I'm here. That's why your name is glowing in the divine archives. That's why the number is exactly $55 million. It is not random. It is recorded. My child, my beloved, you are going to notice something shifting after this. Small things at first, a message that feels too aligned, a door that opens faster than expected, a person who returns with an apology. These are the first waves of the divine transfer. Don't call them coincidences, call them confirmations. Heaven speaks through patterns. And you are about to see those patterns stack like bricks, building a path so clear you won't be able to deny it anymore. That's how this miracle begins. In what looks small but carries supernatural weight. The longer you stay in alignment, the more powerful the results. This is a spiritual technology. Faith is the signal. And you've just activated it by opening this message at the exact hour it was meant to find you. My child, my beloved, there is someone connected to you who will benefit from this miracle, but they will never know the full story. They will only know that your life shifted and their life became lighter. They will think it was timing. They won't realize it was obedience. Your obedience, your decision to believe, your decision to respond. This blessing is going to overflow. It will reach beyond you into your family, into your friendships, into your future home, your future work, your future children. That's what makes this different. This is not a single moment of money. This is a fountain of divine resource designed to keep flowing if you protect its purity. And protecting it begins by not dismissing it. My child, my beloved, some will never understand this kind of moment. They'll scroll past. They'll laugh. They'll think it's just another spiritual video. And they'll miss what was placed right in front of them. But you are not like them. You wouldn't have made it this far if you were. You are spiritually awake. Even when you feel tired, even when you feel low, even when your faith is whispering instead of roaring, you are still awake. That's why heaven keeps speaking to you. That's why you keep feeling tugged toward things you don't understand yet. Your awakening is the proof that you are being prepared for something far greater than survival. You are being prepared for legacy. My child, my beloved, and so I must give you this instruction clearly. Do not delay. When the hour turns to 9 p.m., a release will begin. But the window is small. It will remain open only for those whose spirit was alert, whose heart was positioned, whose faith was ready. If you close this and forget what was said, the moment may close with it. But if you remain in the posture of belief, even silently, even tearfully, then the signal will be complete and heaven will know you heard the call. You didn't run. You didn't wait for another sign. You knew this was the sign. And heaven always rewards bold faith with bold miracles. My child, my beloved, there are some moments in life where heaven watches in silence just to see if you'll notice what's right in front of you. This is one of those moments. A divine test disguised as a gentle whisper. Nothing about this message is loud, yet it carries the weight of 1,000 prayers. That is how heaven works. Not with explosions, but with perfect alignment. Right now, you are standing inside a spiritual opening. And this message, this confirmation, this number, $55 million, it is not only real, it is alive. It is breathing with divine energy. The reason it found you is because your frequency finally matched its release. Your waiting aligned with God's perfect timing. And now the scroll that was sealed for years is open, and only you can walk through. My child, my beloved, the angel assigned to your life has been fighting quietly for you. Through sleepless nights, spiritual interference, emotional storms, and moments where you almost collapsed, that angel never left. That angel knew this moment was coming. That is why you're still here. That is why you didn't die in the waiting. That is why you didn't lose your mind when everything went silent. And now I, Archangel Michael, stand beside that angel with the seal of heaven in my hands. And what I am holding is yours. It bears your spiritual name. It carries the promise made to you before you were ever betrayed, before you were ever hurt, before you were ever disappointed. That promise is still alive and it is ready to become real. My child, my beloved, the devil hoped you'd be too tired to hear this. He hoped the weight of this season would distract you from what was coming. He planted fear, confusion, bitterness, anything to keep you from staying long enough to receive. But you stayed. You paused. You opened this message. And that single act of obedience was louder than 1,000 doubts. That one decision broke through the fog. Heaven saw it. I saw it. And because of that small act of belief, your name is now marked for transfer. A shift in the spirit has occurred. You may not feel it yet, but in the unseen, a table is being prepared. The people, the places, the exact timing, it is all being synchronized with your yes. Stay in that yes. My child, my beloved, tonight is not like other nights. It is laced with divine finality. Heaven is making a decision about your next season. The blessing is already formed. It's already wrapped. The only thing heaven is waiting for is your full surrender. Not surrender out of defeat, but surrender out of trust. You don't have to fight for this. You don't have to earn this. You just have to receive it. This is not a reward for perfection. It's a gift for endurance. God is not asking you to impress Him. He's asking you to trust Him. Can you trust Him with something this big? Can you believe that you are worthy of something this miraculous? Because if you can, the countdown is over and the miracle begins now. My child, my beloved, there will be people who won't understand how fast things shift for you. They'll say it happened overnight. They'll say you were lucky, but they didn't see the years you spent building in silence. They didn't feel the nights you fell asleep in tears only to wake up and keep going. They didn't hear your quiet prayers when everyone else had stopped listening. But heaven heard, heaven never forgot. And what others call sudden, God calls scheduled. Your time is not random. It is right. It is holy. And what's about to happen in your life will carry the signature of the divine so boldly, no one will be able to deny it.